The biggest weeks of the year should be the week before 4th of July and the week after 4th of July, at least here in the United States. It's BDA, guys. It's before the vacation. It's during the vacation. It's after the vacation, making sure that you are proactively addressing this. It's a teaching moment. Capitalize this and have the biggest weeks of the year.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
At Genesis, we help successful chiropractors implement spinal decompression with a fully turnkey system that handles everything from marketing and new patient generation to systems, protocols, and ongoing support. The result? Massive value for your practice and life-changing outcomes for your patients, all without drugs or surgery. This is the next evolution in chiropractic care. Welcome to Genesis.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And as always, we are stoked to be here with you guys in the studio, going 100 miles an hour, coming off of a big mastermind week. I love mastermind weeks, Dr. Pete. I love when we get to record at the tail end of masterminds because legs are moving, our heads are spinning, and we've just come out of interacting with hundreds of our awesome chiropractors who self-identify as remarkable CEOs or aspiring remarkable CEOs. So wherever you find yourself on that continuum, we're psyched that you guys are here with us as well to share in this message. What a privilege to be able to be connected with and contacted so closely with all of the top chiropractors in the world. I'm coming off of a big week last week. I went to Atlanta twice last week. I was down there, got a chance to speak on campus for the TRP club there. What's up? Shout out to the students out there. You guys are awesome. Then I went back for Pearl Jam on Thursday night. I got invited to connect with Pearl Jam for a great show with my brother and my boy, Rick Beato, who's just amazing. If you don't watch Rick on YouTube, you should. That guy's a genius. Then Friday, I flew out to Miami for the F1 race with the Ultimate Achievers Club with the UACers. And there was about 25 of us there that went to the race. And probably 15 of the 25 were all TRP docs, which was just so awesome. So it was like a bonus weekend, getting to hang out, socialize, break bread, and just rub shoulders with some of the top chiropractors in the world. And it's just awesome to hear from our TRP docs. So one thing that I hear is they listen to the podcast. So, hey, I'm just sending some love. You guys know who you are. Thank you so much for your kind words. We love doing this. And, I hope you guys hear that in our voices. We love doing this podcast, but man, there's just nothing better than getting the feedback from you guys and hearing that there's so much value and that you're applying what we're talking about. So thanks so much, guys. Such a blessing, Dr. Pete, working with you and then getting that kind of feedback. Man, we're blessed.
Yeah, man, we are blessed. And I had the opportunity that same weekend to be at Sherman Lyceum. So shout out to all of our Sherman students and all of our Sherman reps, Dr. Jack Borla. The opportunity to go and speak there and be a part of the Lyceum event here in 2025 was a huge blessing. And just being able to be around chiropractors, the people that have been in the game for decades and those who are about to graduate and those who are just starting in school. You're kind of around them all at a Lyceum event, which is just an awesome thing. We have an incredible TRP club. We had over 50 people come to our bonfire. Which was hosted by some of our leaders for the TRP club on the Sherman campus, which has been a huge win. So, Doc, we're already off to a great start here as we're heading into summer. And I'll tell you something right now. It's energy is up, and we say as your energy goes, so goes your business. And so, when you think about the culture, Dr. Stephen, and I know you dealt with this in practice. We deal with this still to this day, which is the natural ebbs and flows in business, right? The natural ebbs and flows in seasons. There's seasonality to business. There's seasonality to life. And for you to fight against the season would be you to be engaging in a losing battle. So what we want to talk about today is how do you win? How do you win in every season? How do you show up in every season and have success in your business. Because Dr. Stephen, you know, like me, in the meetings, conversations we're having with many of our CEOs and docs we're working with, you know, the talk about summer is upon us. It comes up, it starts to come up around these times of the year. And so we're going to spend some time talking about how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare to have victory and help your patients, more importantly, have victory in the summer? Because if they win, you win, right? That's the key. Then that's the big takeaway today, is if they're winning, then you're winning, because their success is your success. And we're going to share that. How do we approach, you know, how do we prepare for a remarkable summer time in clinics, in our practices? What do we do before? What do we do during? What do we do after to make it successful? And again, you can apply these principles that we're about to share in every season, whether it's the holidays that are going to come at the end of the year every year. And you can apply this very practically when individuals are going through things in their own lives, whether it's work changes, life changes, moves, you know, life situations that happen. You know, these same principles that we're going to walk through, Dr. Stephen, they apply. So this is going to be a very practical conversation that we're going to have today that I hope immediately is going to have an impact for every single one of you. If you're listening to this in the timely fashion with when we release this episode, it should be falling right around the summertime. So at least here in North America. So wherever you find yourself in the world, again, I'm hoping that this is something that's going to energize you and also be very practical as far as things you can implement immediately.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Dr. Pete. So I love that we're on top of this. In the spirit of BDA, and before, during, and after, that framework serves us so well. So that consciousness, guys, of BDA, before, during, and after, this is before summer schedules change. This is before vacations start kicking in, right? So this is before there's a cultural shift or the summer slump attitude that can hit your team, your patients, and dare I say even you. So I just want to say this: nobody loves the summer like a New Englander, right? So Dr. Pete's distracting me with that hat he's wearing right now, right? So we even say that I bet the New Yorkers love New York, New Jersey, love a good summer, right? But you know, at the end of the day, we want you to hear us loud and clear. We love summer. We want everybody to go to the beach. We want you to go on vacation. We want you to go to the lake. We want you to get on the boat. Whatever your summer thing is, we want you to do it, man. But we want to make sure that you don't miss the opportunities associated with the summer shift. It's not a summer slump. It's a summer shift. And if you start talking like that to your people, they recognize it's like, hey, we're coming up on the summer shift. And very often what ends up happening is there's a shift in family schedules, right? So we shift from the school year schedule to the summer schedule, right? So what we want to be able to do, guys, is we want to be able to preemptively address some of these, let's call them limiting beliefs around summer. Let's call them, maybe they're yours, maybe they're your team's. They're definitely in the culture, so to speak. As people start to take vacation, what we don't want them to do is we don't want them to take vacation from their health. We don't want them to take vacation from the great habits that they've built towards creating greater health, right? So one thing we know is true: subluxation does not take vacation, right? So this is such a great learning opportunity. It's a perfect time. It's a teaching opportunity for us to revisit concepts like the importance of getting adjusted, but not just getting adjusted, but getting adjusted in rhythm. And getting adjusted in rhythm in a way that your body recognizes that it's on a journey towards your health goals, right? It's 3 steps forward, no steps back. It's all about compliance and following that schedule. We do not want to have a summer slump in anyone's schedule, because that leads to a slump in their health. Here's what I know to be true. Summertime is a healing time. I'm from New England, the great white north, right? So summertime is a healing time. It's when we are outside. It's when we're in the sunshine, getting the energy of the sun. It's where our vitamin D, where our immune systems get upregulated, our nervous system gets recharged, our sleep schedules get back on circadian rhythm. The fresh foods from local farms are readily available. This is the time when we're moving our bodies and we are exercising. We're more active. We're eating fresh foods. The mentality of people in summertime, Dr. Pete, summertime is a healing time. This is the time of the year when we want to position our chiropractic gear as like, this is the best time of the year. These are the most valuable adjustments. This is where you build up your health reserves to carry you through next winter. We never take our foot off the brakes of positioning chiropractic care, regardless of what season we're in.
I love that. And hopefully my hat is not going to distract you too much during this episode. But here's a couple things. I loved everything you said. And so we did a workshop oftentimes leading into summer called Shape Up for Summer. And inside of that, shaping up for summer was obviously a lot of the concepts that you're probably thinking about shaping up for summer. But one of the things that I always emphasized, it was how the chiropractic component of shaping up for summer. It was always built into the workshop. So whether you were a chiropractic patient or you were a guest that was in the workshop and you were going to be making a new patient appointment at the end, like this idea that chiropractic doesn't take summer vacation and that this is the best time for you to be focusing on your health is during this time. Like you said, you already stole all my things that I love to talk about the summer. But one of the things that I will share is that when I look back over my numbers, like year after year, my highest volume numbers were always in the summer months. Like
100%.
When I first busted through 1,000 a week, it was in the middle of the summer. That's when we busted through 1,000 a week for the first time, was in the summertime. So I just want to, whatever limiting beliefs that you guys have, maybe right now, if that's a belief you have, I just want to take out my, my sledgehammer and just smash it into a million little pieces so it can go bye-bye. You know what I'm saying? So, or we just take a little fire and put a flame to it so it turns into vapor. So no, but that belief, that's oftentimes we allow these beliefs, we tolerate them, right? You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate, and your beliefs drive your behaviors, which drives your outcomes, right? So going back to just how things work. So the first thing we have to do about the summer is just shape our beliefs. So shaping up for summer is shaping up your beliefs. You got to get your head right, get your head out of the sand, get your feet in the sand, but your head out of the sand, kind of thing, And when you're in the sand, enjoying the seashore, whatever it is, your boat, your sandy shore, your pool, whatever it is that you do in the summer, you got to get your head right. And that means like we're going to grow during the summer. Summer is the perfect time for growth. And so if you're not saying that to yourself, your staff, your team isn't thinking that, believing it, then it's going to be hard to experience it. But when you have that belief system right, when you recognize like, hey, people actually have a little bit more time and freedom and flexibility during the summertime. Therefore, we should see more new patients during the summer because people
definitely
have
more kids,
margin, much more kids. So here's a couple practical things. One of the things that I like to do is make it big and bold, the announcement that summer's gone upon us. Hey, if you're going to update your schedule, hey, now is the greatest time to do it. And there should be a billboard, like flashing billboard, like change your schedules now before the summer comes. So this is all about B. The B to me is proactive. So if let's say school that's out in the South, it's around Memorial Day. So it's going to be end of May. If you're in the North, it's going to be mid-June, early mid-June, right? Depending on where you're at. So you need to be 2-3 weeks ahead of that and say, hey, I know all the moms and dads right now, because this is at least what I do. We're signing up for summer camps. You're signing up for sports camps. You're signing up for church camps. You're signing up for VBS. You got your vacations planned, when we're going to grandma's house, stuff like that. All that's already coming up if it hasn't already been happened. So now is the time directly to say, hey, all those families that used to come after school at 3:30, 4 o'clock, y'all are going to be coming at 9 because you're at the pool in the afternoon. So now we need to identify that, those schedules are going to change. So we proactively do that with them and for them, knowing schedules are going to change. So make an announcement, put it out there, not just in an email. I'm talking like billboard, balloons at the front desk, like with things like make it a party, like schedule changes now, like get your schedules changed. And every hot seat, every time the people are walking in, everybody should be asked, did you update your schedule for the summer? Did you update your schedule for the summer, Mr. Franson? Have you guys updated? Oh, I don't need to update. I'm going to keep my schedule the same. All right, perfect. Beautiful. Love it. Hey, you taking any summer vacations this summer? Let's go ahead and get ahead of that right now. Let's get those rescheduled, right? Like right now, it's May, but I'm not going to wait till July, but let's get it rescheduled now. That kind of proactivity, guys, you want to take the edge off, make it more remarkable. You do the B part. The B is so important, Dr. Stephen. This is where let's call it the little bit more of the strategic heavy lift, like thinking part. Get that done. Do the hard easy. Do this on the front end. Get ahead of July, August, September. Get ahead of it. So you handle it now in May or June, depending on where you're at. That's the first thing. The second thing, Dr. Stephen, I wanted to say, I'll throw it back to you, was getting referrals. This is the best time. For all those people that haven't, let's say, quote unquote, gotten their kids in yet, for whatever reason, they've done that or not done that. This is the perfect time for them to get them in. The people that, particularly kids, like you said, this is the time. So we should see a huge inflection point in our practice with pediatric new patient evaluations and conversions during this time of the year. This is the perfect time. By the way, the kids also have some time to get in. So if they need to get higher frequency, now's the time before things kick back in again. and school starts and lessons start and sports start. Now is the perfect window of opportunity. Even though they have swim lessons, they got plenty of time to get their chiropractic adjustments in rhythm. So a couple things there, Dr. Steven. I just wanted to remind us, because I know this is a reminder for many, but it also might be a little bit of a wake-up call for everybody else. So Dr.
Man,
Steven,
this is going to be one of those episodes where you hear people be like, oh, guys, you nailed it. Thank you so much for reminding me, right? So John Adams said it best, God bless you, which is man doesn't need to be taught anything new. They need to be reminded of the things that they already know, right? So it's that this is what this is, guys. You're welcome. Okay, so this is your opportunity. This is your window. It's a perfect opportunity. And for my note takers, I'm going to bust that out, okay? I'm going to bust this out. Let's go macro first, and then we're going to go micro. So from a macro level, BDA, before, during, and after. Let's go macro. It's before summer, during summer, after summer, right? So before summer, we're doing this education process, creating value for rhythm. Don't skip this part. Remember, you can never get an adult to do something consistently that they don't want to do. And the wanting comes from the education. So you've got to create wanting. They've got to want to get adjusted. They've got to want to comply to their schedule. They need to want to get adjusted in rhythm. So you got to start here. You got to start with that education, right? So that's the first step in this process. So that's, if you're not doing it already, you're late. If you start tomorrow, you're right on time, right? So let's just get to it, right? Educating and be like, oh yeah, my table talk. I'm going to be talking to people about their rhythm, their compliance to their schedule. Do you know why you get checked once a week instead of twice a week now? Do you understand why are you at 3 times a week instead of twice a week? Do you know you only hold your adjustments for two or 3 days now, which is why I see you twice a week. When you can hold your adjustments for 7 days, I'll see you once a week. Are you revisiting that? That's your table talk, guys. You're welcome. That's what you should be talking about right now. You're building value for the compliance. Secondly, that's when before the summer, you say, hey, is your schedule going to shift at all with your family in your life? Does your summer schedule change? If so, let's jump up to the front desk now before the summer craziness hits, and let's get you the times that are going to work for your life in the summer. So that's before summer. During summer, make sure that we are consistent and we don't tolerate people missing appointments and not making them up, right? And then after summer, it's going to be back to school. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to repeat the same process, and we're going to shift their schedule again to back to school schedule, right? So BDA, this is the macro level on this. The micro level, let's zoom inside of that macro system. Now it's summertime. Listen, it's two different things. Is your summer lifestyle schedule changing? That's the first one. And the second one is, when are you going on vacation? Are you actually going to go away to the lake this year for 10 days? Are you going away to Italy for 2 weeks? Do you guys go down south for 6 weeks, right? So I need to know from you, is like, when is that vacation block? So when they are going to go on vacation, this is where we remind them, all right, so you can't go 10 days without an adjustment, right? There's way too much life that's happening, especially on vacation, right, Pete? Wink, wink, right? So it's like, what we want to do is we're going to add an appointment. You're not going to miss an appointment. We're going to add an appointment to the week before your vacation to build up momentum, to carry you and your health through, so you have an awesome vacation, you stay healthy, you have lots of energy, feeling great. And we're going to add another appointment to the week you get back to catch you back up, and we'll clean up whatever you did. I know the adjustment is preparatory, not custodial, but we're going to be on the backside of that thing, and we're going to clean it up as well. So we're going to see you twice the week before your vacation when you're away, twice the week when you get back. So Dr. Pete, you do that right. And the biggest months of the year, listen to me, the biggest weeks of the year should be the week before 4th of July and the week after 4th of July, at least here in the United States. It's BDA, guys. It's before the vacation. It's during the vacation. It's after the vacation, making sure that you are proactively addressing this. It's a teaching moment. Capitalize this and have the biggest weeks of the year.
Dr. Steven, I want to hit the energy thing. So we talk about energy, and what you're talking about is 100% spot on. It's accurate. And hopefully everybody, like you said, took some notes and has that all dialed in, because, best time to plant a oak tree is 50 years ago. Next best time is today. So if you haven't already done this, let's do this right now. And by the way, just like we create schedules for reactivation campaigns, and we do those twice a year or however often you do those seasonally, you need to put this in your calendar moving forward so that you don't miss this in the future and have to memory manage this. Like, you need to put a stop manager, a reminder inside of your calendar that says 6 weeks before summer hits, this is the B part. Like, we need to start operating in this way. And so as CEOs, I want us to think practically. Like, we need to be thinking ahead for 2026 and how we're going to handle this differently, since maybe you're listening to this podcast and it's already maybe feels like, man, I wish I listened to this 4 weeks ago. And that's going to happen for some of you. And so the reality is like, you have an opportunity to change the culture inside of our practice to create greater retention long-term. And to your point, you can't get people to do what they don't want. So that comes from education. And education is how you also turn a believer into an understander. So there's an understanding that has to happen, because like people say, I don't believe in chiropractic. It's like, man, good for you. The great news for you is you don't have to. You can understand it. And, you can understand how to create a healthier lifestyle, because it is a success strategy for healthy human beings. And we unlock that for people. And what I found is that at these moments of potential conflict, these are the greatest opportunities to create, to drop the revelation and to have the epiphany. So there should be a lot of epiphanies that are happening inside of your office. So the energy is going to be way up as a result of us being more intentional, more proactive here with our patients, understanding like table talk is going to be all about compliance, and which is going to create this momentum by holding to your rhythm, because your body, heals and functions best when it's in a rhythm. And we're going to lean into these physiological truths and principles and remind people about that. And then they, on the flip side, are going to be taking more ownership, understanding ownership of that. And now in the future, quote unquote, you have a helium balloon. You have somebody who they're already like, oh, I already pre-scheduled that. I took care of that, Dr. Pete. Oh yeah, I already I adjusted my summer schedule. I already got my 2 visits scheduled for before and 2 when I get back from my holiday coming up here in July. I'm good to go. Thanks, Dr. Pete. You're the best. You guys are awesome. Love you guys. That's what happens in the future when you train your patients. See, this is the other thing. We talk about different levels of volume and how the higher volume you are seeing, the easier it is. This is it. This is why. Because when you train your patients to do this, now you're actually getting caught by them telling you, hey, stopping at the front desk, hey, summer's coming up and I need to do my summer shape up. I need to change my schedule because, we're going to be going through some changes here with our family schedule. So we want to get ahead of that. That starts happening to patients who've been trained. We talk about training your patients. This is a trained patient taking ownership of their health. I'm not saying that we don't take a proactive step and put the balloons and the big billboard out. Of course we do all those things, but these people are already on top of it. And that's because they became an understander. And that's how we build a remarkable practice. It's not just we convert to retain. These people start to stay, and they're staying through the summer, through vacations, through holidays, through the ups and downs of that are guaranteed in life, because they've built chiropractic into their lifestyle. This becomes a lifestyle success strategy for healthy human beings, regardless of the season. In every season, they stay aligned.
That's right. All right. So I'm going to land this plane right with where you just used the big word there, which is training. And guess who else needs to be trained? Your team needs to be trained on this. Okay. So we very rarely do this, but I'm going to tell you right now, have your team listen to this episode with you. This is about getting your team's got to be pre-framed around this. They have to understand all of these concepts that we just talked about. And it's something that you should have urgency around. There's an immediacy to this, right? So let's nip this right now. You want to deal with this on your toes, not your heels. You shouldn't be reacting to poor compliance and your volume dropping and your new patients dropping, your revenue dropping, like all that. You're then going to be trying to react to that, and you're going to rush it. And people are going to be like, wait a minute, where's all that energy coming from? As opposed to ramping with a plan towards this and being strategic about it. So this is a time for you to get your strategic scheduling right. If you guys would like to get a copy of the Remarkable Practice recommendations around what strategic looks like, we give you strategic scheduling looks like. We'll give you a sample of our TRP strategic scheduling. If you want to take a look at that, we have a download for you guys. We'll put a link down below so you can download what does the schedule look like that we highly recommend, that thousands of chiropractors are using to see hundreds of thousands of patients successfully. You can get a copy of that for either reference or inspiration, or just use it exactly and adopt it, right? But strategic scheduling, this is an opportunity to have a scheduling conversation and a scheduling training with your team around BDA. So they totally understand, like, okay, roger that, Dr. Pete. I hear what you're saying. I totally understand it. I am on the job, right? Because this is new. This is a different perspective. It's a different energy. It's a different charge. And this is telling them, listen, I want you to focus on this, right? So I want you to focus, and focus is what takes busyness and turns it into productivity. And the productivity we're talking about here is making sure that we have people scheduling before their vacations and afterwards to create the biggest weeks of the year and making sure that we tee ourselves up for a super successful summer, a fun summer that has no summer slump. In fact, it's a summer spike. It's the biggest season of the year. Summertime is a healing time, making sure that this is the battle cry of your team. And we see your compliance actually increase in the summer as people want to have a healthy and happy summer season. Download that. There's a link down below. God bless you guys. Have a great week. And let's get ready for an awesome summer. We'll be here all summer sharing this awesome podcast. Make sure you share it with others.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
Hi, everyone. We have the very special guest today, Dr. David Fletcher from CLA, an amazing man, a good friend of TRP, a good friend of mine. So, David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Malcolm, it's going to be in the most interesting 10 minutes of anybody's life here because they get to listen to what we usually talk about. But anyhow, it's wonderful to be invited and to be a part of the TRP family. We relish every moment at CLA that we get a chance to, interact more closely with TRP clients. And I think the real reason is that when we take a look at the values that drive both of our companies, there's really no separation at all. We finish each other's sentences, so it's a wonderful experience.
That is for sure. You've been personally. I've used CLA your services since 2000, so 25 years. I've been a CLA client, integral part of my practice. So. A lot of the listeners, most people would be aware of CLA, but what I really want to know, and I know what our listeners want to know, is what are the problems you actually solve for a practice?
Well, I think one of the most important things that we focus on and really use as a solution for everyone, it's not even a style of practice, it's for everyone, is what we could determine or call the critical shift. Is that there's this moment in a chiropractor's experience and a patient's experience of where you have to take it beyond what their expectations are in the delivery of your care. We know that the vast majority of people entering into a chiropractic office aren't coming in and saying, arouse my innate. What they are saying is, I have a problem. And so we need to convert those people to hear our story. And one of the things that matters, and what chiropractic has always been about, is looking deeper into the nervous system. Right from the very start of the origins of our profession, we talked about the tone of the nervous system. And so scanning really opened that door. It didn't dismiss X-ray, it didn't dismiss orthoneuro or anything like that. It just said, what if we could look into the functioning nervous system? What if we could track that, and then we could solve the problem of developing responsible care plans, communicating to our patients the positivity of what it is. And really it comes down to attraction, retention, and conversion, which is why I said we are TRPites when it comes to that.
So let's get specific here. And I know that CLA helps in all areas of practice through attraction, conversion, retention. So how specifically does it solve people's problems if they're having attraction problems? How does CLA solve that particular problem?
I think it usually begins with somebody, a parent or an adult, coming in to have the first visit, and it's going to be pain-based. It's going to be, I have a problem, because we haven't oriented them otherwise. And they start to realize that you as an examiner, you as a team, have the ability to really listen to them, but take the whole examination and reporting process deeper than what they thought. And so you set the stage for them to hear the story that you want them to hear, which is about, when it all comes down to it, the problem we really all face is conversion to a lifetime wellness patient. Let's just say that. We know that that's a dream, but we also know that it's a reality. I could look at your practice and I would see that the retention that leads to that, not everybody stays for a lifetime. You and I did, we became chiropractors, but the reality is that it opens doors and it's an invitational model. So that's the number one thing. It brings highly visual, well, you taught me this, is that it makes the invisible visible. Yeah. It allows the patient to have a clear understanding of what you are directing your attention to, and it vividly displays it in color and in scores and in trackable metrics.
Yeah. It's one of the benefits, and we know that 70% of the population are primary visual. So that when they can actually see on a screen, on an iPad, or whichever way you deliver the
Mhm.
reports, which the amazing inroads that CLA has had over the last, I don't know how many years it is, going from very wired machine to these wireless machines and now to the iPads, and the reporting is just amazing. So when they can see it, when they can see how the nervous system is functioning, how does that, I mean, I know that it improves retention, hands down.
Yeah.
The conversion process. So how does it specifically solve the problems of conversion retention?
Well, conversion and retention is really easy because now you're not using plan, can, ham, care planning. You're using the exact data that is presented to you in terms of a three-dimensional neurofunctional exam. We're looking at heart rate variability to get a global picture of what their stress and adaptability are. We're looking at their postural energy expenditure using EMG, and we're looking how deep it's going with their thermography. We build a complete model, or a report card, really is how we describe it, a report card called the core score that allows the patient and the doctor to have a trackable and identifiable goal. And I
Yes.
mean, who doesn't want a goal? And so we allow the patients to get on this journey of saying, well, first we have to release the tension, then we start to build new strategies. And instead of it taking a day or two or a week or so to feel better, we have a plan that we can put in place with it that originates with their initial problem, but can take them several months down the way, and as we know, several years down the way.
Yeah.
That's the retention conversion. You did ask about attraction, and I didn't really finish that because I got off on the usual.
On a tangent.
But almost immediately, this is one of the most interesting things we see, and I know you can comment to this, is that we see the immediacy of family members coming in. Almost immediately, when a parent is scanned or a grandparent is scanned, they are so enthusiastic about wondering what a well child checkup looks like. Remember, we're not into the pathology business, we're into the possibility business. And so when a parent sees that they'd like to have a child scan, I mean, how else are you going to examine a child's nervous system unless you're scanning them? And
Yeah.
so they want a baseline. They want to know that before their child gets sick or before performance becomes an issue, that they have a baseline in place with you.
Yeah. And it's that baseline. I know personally in my practice, and as I said, been using for 25 years. What I realized is that the people that I thought were getting better, as in their symptoms were getting better, when I scanned them, I realized, yes, their symptoms are better, but their nervous system is improving, but it's got a long way to go. And that's the retention thing you're talking about. So I found that my retention jumped massively when I started using CLA all those years ago, and it is an integral part of my practice.
And it takes a lot of stress off of the clinician, off the chiropractor, because first off, you're building the conversations not on what is good for what they might perceive as the practice, but is really good for them. And one of the things that we know is that they need chiropractic care at a certain level. We know that, and we can track that. But there comes a time when they now can move away from needing it, like intentionally needing it, to where they can choose to be inviting themselves into it.
Correct.
And when we take a look at these emerged practices like yours, and I mean, we have thousands of offices around the world, so we know exactly what we're doing here. We see practices that were the average practice of the people we're talking to is what we would refer to as a 20-80 split. 20% an 80-20 split. 80% of the early starts and the practice volume in a symptom-based practice is indeed short-term symptom-based. But we see the flip happening, that only 20% of people in a practice, of a mature practice that has built scanning and built the idea of retention into it, actually are just learning to become part of the 80%. In other words, that there's this natural progression from needs being met to being invited into this long-term better strategy called vitalism.
Yeah. And this is, yes, we talk conversion, and a lot of time, effort, energy is put into that conversion process, the initial one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so your day one, your day two process there. Then when you're looking at re-exams and doing this, and you mentioned goals before. I remember one of our patients in their practice, their actual goal was to improve their core score. And
Yeah,
that was their goal.
absolutely.
They said it. They said,
Yeah,
I want my heart rate variability to be this number. That was their
yeah,
goal.
and
So,
it is.
so as far as re-examinations and that continuing process over time, how does it really assist people to give them a pathway beyond that?
Well, we instituted something that I glamorously refer to as a rule of 12. And basically, it says that when we're building care plans, it's our responsibility to report back to the patient at least every 12 visits.
Yep.
And so every 12 visits, we set in a cycle where an examination must go. And let's just say that the patient's down to every couple of weeks or whatever. We never go beyond a 3-month window. In other words, that's the standard that we believe, looking at the neurofunctional changes that, both positive and negative that occur. We want the clinicians, we want the team to be constantly reviewing the why behind the patient's attendance in your practice.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that there's this fear-based model. It's an inspiring model to say, just what you said, look, I've really come a long way, but I can see there's way more that I could achieve.
Yes.
And that's very powerful.
Yeah, and then the ones you have who may be on maintenance care, whatever that is, then they see their next scan and they see that it's actually it's not maintaining, it's actually deteriorating, and then it's very motivating for them to get back under corrective care or more wellness care. So I know it's such a good tool. I know I think all the coaches in TRP use it. So if it works for us, it works for anyone, right? So
it does. And it's so interesting because you can take away a lot of that anxiety as being, we all had it when we were early on in practice and otherwise, and we didn't know exactly how we were going to communicate the needs of a patient and what we could provide. And this just gives you a starting point, but a continuation. You don't have to make it up. Meaning, and I'm not suggesting we do like that, that'd be fallacious, but the reality is that you've got the tools right now to say, I understand now why you keep getting, an immune response that isn't working the way it should. I understand now why, your body doesn't heal completely after you've had an episode. It's because there's this chronic nerve tension. We have a plan. We know how to release it. We know how to rebuild it. We know how to get you revitalized. So stick with us. We've got a plan. And they hear that. They know it.
They know it. Yes. So, one of the big upgrades that you've made, as well as going to iPad versions with bridges and so forth, is you are a brilliant communicator. Everyone knows this, but you have so the ability to communicate the scans is what's really needed, isn't it? So that's all part of the package, if you like, is how do you explain these?
Well, it was so exciting because, it was so funny because in the early days, I started in 97, so I know exactly where we were going with it. You'd get this colorful piece of paper and you'd hand it to the patient and kind of go, you've got, some issues I got to deal with here. And there was this, they talk about this concept called MIGO, is there my eyes glaze over. And the patient go, I get you really are excited about this, but what does it really mean?
What does it mean?
And so, I mean, best intentions, right? But when we rebuilt the new software, which is called Synapse, and we said, we in our dream bucket, we said, let's build it to however it was. I was able to build a continuation plan through the core score communication. And so it actually is designed, it has a huge library behind it that looks at all the different iterations of the scores. And it literally cherry picks out a conversation based upon the data that you are observing on the scan. So basically, it allows me to be communicating the results to your patients. And it's really fun to do that. So it builds an individualized report that compares the data from previous exams and then builds a very understandable communication. And then after that, we said, well, nobody understands you anyways, David. So why don't we let educators do the real thing? And so they took that and built it into a very, very condensed but educated model. It's really quite something.
It is. It's very simple. And there's just an enormous amount of resources available to people so that they can communicate the scans, because that's part of the Hawthorne effect. You do need to communicate in a way that they understand, which
isn't that
it's really good at that. Okay. So, I mean, I know we can talk for hours, but how do people, what's their next step? They're thinking of scanning. They know this is a missing piece. They want to build more retention or attraction or conversion or whatever they want to do. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Well, certainly we're a wide open book, but one of the things that they have in this resource is they have you, meaning they have TRP and they have their coaches. So have a conversation initially with your coach, and they're going to direct you towards us anyways. But to bypass the coaches, I'm joking when I say that, but to get directly to us, it's so easy. It's called insightcla.com. And I want to share with anybody who's in here that there's an automatic TRP discount when you start to get involved with TRP and CLA. We're very generous because we love you guys. And so we have there aren't very many, but we have a preferred alliance relationship. And so anybody who comes and decides that it's time for them to either upgrade or to purchase new, they can be assured that they're going to be getting by far the very best deal that is available on the planet. Which I'm very proud to say. We also offer 0% financing for a 12-month window of time, which I think is exceedingly generous.
It is.
But we love that. And any way that we can get more people scanning and more people engaged in the community of TRP and CLA, we're 100% behind that.
Absolutely. So I know that you are the TRP clients who are in North America or come to the North American immersions. You'll find David there. You can see it there as well. But get in contact with CLA, and just do yourself a favor. Basically, this is an integral part of many TRP practices. You're probably in the minority if you're not. So get into it, I reckon. So please, so good to see you on Zoom here. Can't wait to see you in person again very soon. So any thoughts here?
I think we're probably the only partner of the North American crew that actually does the connection with the Australian crew. And there's a real reason for that, is that we have such a passion play with New Zealanders and Australians. We've always had such a relationship down there. For the last 2 years, the weirdest thing is that my calendar has been conflicted on the TRP Australia dates. We're both busy, but mine just hasn't meshed. But I promise, and I mean this on the greatest time, I promise to come and participate down in Australia.
Nice.
So I can't wait.
I can't wait. Well, we'll see you soon. And as I said, get in contact with CLA and get scanning.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.